we've got Trick, one of the most famous guys in Detroit, one of the greatest artists come out of Detroit this century on the program today. New movie. We've got Terrell Starr, Detroit native. He is in Kiev as we speak. Independent journalist. Going to get it straight from him, straight from the horse's mouth. What's going on? But before we do any of that, I can't let this go. This whole shit about the homeless dying in Detroit and the hundreds of millions of dollars missing. There stood Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, the Wizard of Woodward, looking rumpled and swollen like he'd been beaten silly by a feather pillow. His honor always looks that way when he's caught in a scandal. Now, the Wiz was struggling last week to finally lay to rest the death of 2 homeless children in that van. The mother had called the city hotline multiple times, only to be turned away. And in the end, the fault lay with Duggan. After all, his is the silent hand behind the curtain that controls those hundreds of millions in homeless dollars that never seems to quite make it to the homeless. And so the Wiz convened a press conference to offer a new 7-point plan of stuff that should have been part of the plan anyway. Things like a 24/7 homeless hotline and priority given to women and children. I wasn't invited to the press conference. I never am. The Wiz's footman had taken me off the media list years ago. I only seemed to annoy the man with obvious questions. One of the last press conferences to which I'd been invited was a change the subject sort of deal. With the flames of the federally funded demolition scandal burning up towards his C-suite, His Honor convened a press conference a couple years ago to discuss, low-income housing. He fed the press poodles donuts and coffee. I ate his French crullers. Quite tasty, actually. Then I confronted him on his role in the possible bid rigging and price setting and the poisoning of the city in those demolition contracts. And he snapped. Like most of your stories, it's false. Yeah, not so much. A couple months later, Duggan, the city, and the demo program were ensnared in a sprawling federal grand jury investigation. It got so bad, Duggan had to hire Hillary Clinton's defense lawyer for $1,000 an hour until she quit and went and worked with Mueller on the Russia-Trump investigation. I swear to God to you. It went on for years. The case eventually petered away as Biden's friendly DOJ let the statute of limitations lapse. And I got taken off the media list. You see how that works? This time around, the Wiz had just about closed the curtain on the dead children debacle when Ed White from the Associated Press ambled up to the lectern for one last question. I was in my underpants watching on live stream.
Charlie LeDuff had posted video outside of a women's and children's shelter, said it was not authorized for occupation. Yeah. He showed a child on the floor. Yeah. Can someone address that?
It's a bunch of nonsense.
And what that is?
It's a bunch of nonsense.
So that shelter is okay?
Again, they are going through, they have a temporary license, they're going through their permanent license. The zoning board just approved them. But anyway, I'm not addressing that kind of a report.
Of course he's not addressing that kind of report. How could he address that kind of report? Because it's the correct kind of report. The city's breaking its own laws and putting vulnerable families at risk. Children are eating off the shelter floors, Mike. The temporary license Duggan spoke of was meant for a temporary warming shelter. It was issued 2 Januaries ago and was supposed to provide short-term services during the extreme cold. It's not a permit to establish a perpetual overnight shelter. But that's what a city building inspector found in June of 24. 50 women and children living in a former nursing home on Gratiot Avenue. The place had a raft of fire, plumbing, and structural issues and did not and does not have a certificate of occupancy. The inspector failed the facility and cited it for operating illegally as a shelter. Now, incredulously, the city claims the building is operating legally as a temporary warming shelter, even though the temperature was 71 degrees the day the inspector showed up. 2 months later, the city building department finally approved the nursing home to become an emergency shelter on condition that no one inhabit the joint until the work was complete and a certificate of occupancy had been issued. A month after that, in September of 24, the building department flunked the joint yet again, and it was still occupied with women and children. And last month, the building yet again failed a fire inspection, and it is still not certified to house human beings, much less dogs. Instead of fixing the damn place, Duggan deflects, and millions intended to house the poor go unaccounted for. As for the woman and her 2 remaining children, they got a house rent-free for the next 12 months. Then she's on her own. In Duggan's land of Oz, the rich get richer and the poor get children. He's running for governor, but he isn't popular in Detroit. Polls show Duggan in a statistical dead heat in the city with Jocelyn Benson in a head-to-head matchup. That's not good for a guy who's been mayor for more than a decade. That's because people who are not on his payroll know the truth. The Wiz has done nothing much to improve the general livelihood. So Duggan has dumped the Democrats and is now playing populist. Instead of running as a corrupt big city Democrat that he is, he's donned the robes of a good old boy and he's just plain corrupt. Good luck running on that.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's the No Bullshit News Hour with my main man, Charlie LeDuff and Karen Dumas.
This just it, breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
I am fucking exhausted, Trick.
I see.
Trying to keep this shit straight, man. This not going right. Side's not going right. Lie, 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 lie. Trick, 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 trick.
Joke.
And they don't fix anything, dude.
Yeah.
You know, last time you were on the show, you coined the phrase, fix the shit.
Fix the shit.
What's so hard?
Pockets. Buddy hustling, you know.
Enough already, man. But listen, I digress. Trick, writer, director, musician, starring in a new crime drama on Amazon Prime. Tubi?
No. Amazon Prime and Apple TV.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
Long time. What's the name of the movie?
The Last 24 is the name of the movie. It's about a botanical super formula created by a doctor played by the great Charlie LeDuff, who created this super formula to make plants grow in 3 weeks instead of 3 months. And the Albanian mafia is after it. Sent his son to kind of do an easy deal for your formula that he acquired from you. And that deal didn't go so good, and the journey starts.
So hijinks ensue. It's a Mikey Eckstein producer with us too. How you doing, brother?
I'm great, man.
So, when did we film that? 17?
The end of 18.
End of 18.
Yeah.
The end of 18.
So this is a long journey.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, okay. First of all, it's a drama comedy.
Dramedy, yes.
It's a dramedy.
Dramedy.
And you wrote it.
Yes, sir.
Directed it,
And
Wrote it and directed it.
and I produced it.
What does that mean when you produce? Does that mean you come up with the money?
No, I came up with the money.
Listen, I came up with the casting, with the locations, with my input, quarterback the project
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And Trick and I have been working together for coincidentally 24 years now.
24 years, yeah.
And we feed off each other very well.
Yeah.
I think we kind of bring the worlds together in a sense. So we, when he came up with that role, I'm like, I know the perfect motherfucker, Charlie. I needed, and you were
Nailed that one,
great.
cuz.
We had a lot of fun, and it took a while for the movie to come out. We did this on our own, and I'll let Trick expound a little bit more. I mean, there's a movie in itself leading up to the release, and essentially
Action packed.
but prior to that, somebody told us, a couple people, that you can't do it on your own. You can't do a movie. You need some Jewish investments and a black lesbian screenwriter, blah, blah, blah. No, the fuck we
Told me
don't.
I only had 2 or 3 outlets to go through in order to get my film on Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime wasn't accepting any more independent films, and they accepted my film in under 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, Apple TV accepted it in under 7.
I mean, what's the genesis of it? Dude, you make music, man. You're known for music, right?
I'm known for storytelling. You dig? Music is storytelling. So I'm telling my story, and alongside that story, you have to, to be careful. You have to, have an imagination as well, so that I don't incriminate myself in my music. But that imagination come from just a history of just being a TV head, and, as well as a musician, from being a drummer in church, and my father's a DJ, mother was a singer, and, just being in the environments of creativity. It's inevitable that whenever you think you want to do something like, make a movie, that you do it,
I mean, I got to ask to do a movie. I used to, live in L.A., and it was Brad Pitt's people, right? Jeremy Kleiner, Plan B, and read my book, and he's like, you ever done a script? I go, no, I don't know how to do a script. So ended up doing a script. He flew out here. We wrote it together. It's all ready to go, and then it never goes. You know what
happens.
I mean?
Yeah.
It really does. And I'd never encourage anybody to fall in love with Hollywood or put your own money into it. You know what I mean? Because it's rare that it pans out. So it really had to just take a lot of.
Well, that's when so many other hands are in control. See, I had control of this. This was my baby, my idea. I wrote it, and I'd use my money to finance it. And I know my partner was ready to go on anything I needed from him, to the point to where, I slipped up on casting one day and didn't call casting to get a talent there to accompany the other guy, and looked out the window, and Mikey was sitting out there looking just like the character. Immediately, he became the character. So, you know what I mean? When you got that kind of play and power, you know what I mean? You got that kind of teamwork. It's like, the key to it is just to not give up if it's your baby. You wrote it. That's your script.
Yeah.
You want it to come to, you got to keep going on it. You created this, where we sitting right now, like this out of your head. This is your fruits of your labor. This is your idea. And it's here. You manifested it into reality. We here right now from your imagination, from your idea. So it's just, you just have to get the script and say, I'm gonna do this motherfucker, and then do it, and don't stop till you do it. I had a million things come up against me with the last 24.
Man.
From, I lost my mom, COVID came, I got in a high-speed chase. Somebody stole a bag out the rental car in San Francisco. Somebody stole another bag with backup drives out of it in Los Angeles, going to meeting a producer for a Hulu docuseries, literally. The same day I was going to show it to Snoop and them. Just like so many different, the hard drive crashed. Bow. The file was corrupted. The whole movie file with the movie, that session was corrupted, and it corrupted any computer. Like, I don't even know what happened, but
The original?
But see, here's the thing. When I shoot, when we take that footage we take that tape or that card from the camera, it's handed off to somebody, and they're making 3 copies of it. Right. They log all the footage, and then when I edit scenes 1 through 7. Bam, block that out, and then move it over here and back it up too. So I had backups up the wazoo. It was just a matter of having to keep going from the finish line is right here, and then bam, back to the beginning. Got to start over. I was making the last corrections with the hard drive when it crashed. I had 18 corrections. We had got to the second correction, and it was like, pew! And it's like heartbreaking, but you can't let nothing get in your way if you believe in it, you love it, and you want it. You know what I mean? If you really believe in it, and that's like, having you on that film was so much value to me. Having him work tirelessly on it was so much value to me. I couldn't let y'all down, let alone myself. I refused to go back on me.
I'd forgotten about it.
I mean, every time we ran into each other, I'm like, it's coming. It's coming. I got you. It's coming.
I'm like, what's coming?
And that's exactly what he did.
The way I found out it came out is it's a guy that comes down into the cone. He's not homeless, but he don't mind you thinking he's homeless.
Right.
That way he gets free meals. He's a real nice guy. And he goes, I saw you in that movie. I go, what fucking movie? And then when you're a scientist, I'm like, scientist? Oh, shit, that's out. He goes, it's a good movie. So, I mean, word on the street is like, good movie.
Yes, it is, man. I'm so thankful. Man.
Is that when you called me?
Yeah.
I'm so thankful.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. See, now, I didn't know my motivation when we were filming that. I wasn't sure I brought it.
Oh, you
The
killed. You're great.
naturalness of it, the naturalness of your intelligence you could easily be a scientist, a political scientist for sure. So
think he is.
I think he's a scientist. Like your natural flow, bro.
You hear that, Mike?
Even the way you drunk all that expensive whiskey we had when he poured it in a what do you call it?
A beaker?
Beaker. He poured it in a beaker.
That night we had the bad. I just threw something out of nowhere together. The bad guy, or whatever it was, with you, Boston George, Trick, and Darren McCarty.
Did we shoot that day?
Oh, yeah.
No, but remember we did that panel.
Yeah.
If you were there, you were there.
If you missed it,
That
you
was
missed it.
that was enough.
Boston George was the
George-
coke smuggler back in the day.
George Jung.
You was the mediator.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good night.
That was a
it
good
was.
night. Darren McCarty, you,
God,
and
that
Trick.
Dude smokes weed, dude. Fuck.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
He passed away. I think they said he was responsible for
McCarty did?
No, no.
No,
Sorry.
hell no.
No. George.
He got
did.
another 60 years.
no,
That
George.
motherfucker's pickled.
Yeah.
George John.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an interesting cat.
Yeah.
That was a good era.
That was a good
That
panel.
was a good era.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's the last 24.
Yes, sir.
It's available.
On Amazon Prime
Apple.
and Apple TV.
Okay.
Those are easy to get to those. It's also on Google Play and Vudu as well.
You got to pay for it?
Rental fee, or you can purchase it, and it'll be on Tubi May the 1st.
Okay, Tubi, man.
Yeah, May the 1st.
Okay. Now, I want to do that. Look, Mark, we'll take a break and hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be back. And I want to move towards politics, president, State of the Union, Ukraine. You've been active on Twitter. I'm watching what you're doing. And we got Terrell Starr on the show. He's in Ukraine via Detroit. So a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
I'm Grace Karros, and I'm third generation of American Coney Island. People say Detroit's a comeback city. I say, where you been? We've been here for over 100 years. My family's been here on the same corner, serving our famous proprietary American Coney Island hot dog. So like always, we're keeping things fresh, updated, and new. We'd love to have you come downtown and visit us, but if you can't, you can always go to AmericanConeyIsland.com, order a Coney kit, get it delivered fresh right to your door.
This message of Uplift is brought to you by business and personal wealth advisor Luke Nowacki, who reminds you that what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but never enter the kingdom of God? But while you're waiting, Nowacki wants you to remember that overreaction is not a sound financial strategy. So call Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748 for sound financial advice.
Archangel, are you an entrepreneur looking for a safe and socially responsible real estate investment? I don't mean to make it sound like this, but it's franchising. You are a caregiver. You buy the product from Archangel. The flow, they staff it for you. They get the property. That's what the investors come in for. And you, like a restaurant, work it off, and eventually you become the owner. The investor gets paid. The caregivers can actually end up being their own bosses. People get to live in communities. They're clean, they're small, they're tight. If you are interested in investing in this, you'll get a better explanation from Archangel. 989-614-0416. Believe me, this is the future. This is what's happening. 989-614-0416. Well, you know, when it rains, the power goes out. And when the power goes out, the internet goes out. When the internet goes out, I call my friend Matt and Bernie at XG Service Group. Look at Bernie here on his hands and knees, giving it everything he's got. Look at that man crack. So busy. He forgot to wear a belt. There's Matt right there getting the board together. That's 734-245-4100 if you need Matt and Bernie to come take care of your voice over internet, your security cameras, off-campus access control, Wi-Fi, and cameras for homes and business. They'll design it for you. You got restaurants, they do drive-through systems, railroad cameras for public safety, total wireless camera systems for your home and business. Yeah, that's right. Call XG Services at 734-245-4100. All right. Now, let me just, because I can't even read my notes. Terrell Starr, who is in Kiev right as we speak. You can follow him on his official YouTube site, Black Diplomats. He's also on Substack. Born and raised in Detroit. Dude, what the hell are you doing in Kiev? Last time we spoke to you, you were at a checkpoint, and they had guns, and the war had just lit off. And he's just driving around like, hold on a minute, I gotta bullshit my way through this fucking checkpoint. And here he is. He's worldwide. Thanks for coming on, Starr.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you all so very much for having me. Looking forward to talking about all things Ukraine.
Okay, so you and Trick, this is great. Okay, so Trick, it took a while, but you came out. Trump comes to Detroit. You endorsed the guy. Yeah?
I introduced him. Check. I introduced him
to the city that night.
Because an endorsement is to say, I need everybody to vote for this, that, and the other. You know, that's an endorsement. I introduced him. I voted for him too.
Yeah, I voted for him.
So,
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for him before, but I don't think I had any choice the way the country was going. Now, you were up on, what do you make of Ukraine and the billions and billions going overseas when you're seeing what's going on in this city?
I don't support money going anywhere until home is taken care of. You know, you don't drive a $500,000 car and your house only worth $100,000. You know what I mean? And it ain't paid for. You know, it's just common fucking sense. It's like, take care of home first. Why are we financing a war in another country over some NATO shit, and we still got homeless veterans in America? You know, we still got homeless people. We still have bad water pipes. We still got a million other issues that need to be solved right here in America. We got niggas walking in the bathroom behind women, and it was perfectly damn legal. We got men beating the shit out of women in women's sports, and it was perfectly goddamn legal. We got transgenders or transistors or whatever the fuck they are coming in schools talking to children. What the fuck is you doing talking to these babies about what? What the fuck? How the fuck did we get here? At this point, America, we got a goddamn problem. And clearly we can see now what it is. All the money and resources that needed for America is being sent everywhere else.
Terrell, let me ask you then. I did back of the envelope calculation for about $5 billion. The 40,000 homeless vets in this country, we could, with the land, we could build them a nice double wide trailer for $5 billion. What is the value? You're in Ukraine. What is the value of the Ukraine becoming a constant ward of the United States? Tell us why.
I appreciate the question. I'm a little bit thrown back by all the extreme transphobia that I just heard.
I don't give a fuck about all that, cuz. He asked you a question about something else. You ain't got to come back and what the fuck I just said.
Well, I find it pretty interesting that you talk about.
You just got asked a question and you still talking to me, bro. I answer my question to him. You just asked. Talk to Charlie, bro.
I get a right to respond to you. That I'm just.
You don't got. I ain't asked you a motherfucking thing. You ain't got to respond to me. Talk to Charlie.
Well, that's fine.
He asked you a question. I ain't asked you shit, bro.
Secondly, you voted for.
See, still fucking talking. Did I ask this nigga anything, bro? I'm not here to talk to him, bro. I'm here to talk to you. I don't want to hear shit dog got to say. He started off wrong. I don't know, Trick. Tell me about you.
Well, sir, I was trying to be polite, sir, but now that I was, so okay. So is it really that deep? So why are you?
Okay, let's see what he said.
How am I supposed to sit here and deal with the extreme transphobia that you're doing? Why are you so? Why your verbal language? Wow. Wow.
Nigga, I don't want to hear that shit. You don't run shit here, nigga. How the fuck? You don't get to fucking tell me how to think or how to talk. Nigga, do your fucking job. You don't got a bitch ass man to say. You can shut the fuck up, nigga, and keep talking to this man. I ain't asked you a goddamn thing.
Why
he
are you
asked
so
you a fucking
angry?
question. And
Wow.
you couldn't wait to get your ass
You
on there
can't.
and start
I
talking
find it
about
so
how the
interesting
fuck I
that you
talk.
have,
I'm a grown ass
so
man, little boy.
little self-control about
Shut up,
yourself.
pussy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
wow. Nigga,
This
wow.
is just so interesting. You're just,
Man,
wow.
punk ass niggas like that.
You
don't
lack
run
so
shit
much
here, nigga.
emotional
You don't
self-control.
tell no motherfucking body how to think. Where the fuck you get
I
off
wasn't
telling
saying
somebody
anything.
how
I'm
the
just
fuck to
saying
think?
that I
Who the
just
fuck is
thrown
you?
off by the
Who the fuck made you the moral authority over how any fucking body talk, dog? Who?
Well, I found that interesting because
Who made you the moral authority to tell anybody how to talk? Where the fuck do you get your positioning to tell anybody how to talk? I'll wait now.
Oh, well,
I didn't
thank you very
fucking
much,
think
sir.
so, nigga. Now,
Well,
if you will,
I-
answer Charlie LeDuff's fucking question. And please
Well,
stop talking
I'm
to me. I ain't here to
dealing
conversate
the
with you, homie.
transphobia. Would you be?
I don't give a
I would
fuck
be
about
offended
what
if
you
you heard
talk
somebody
about
say-
trans these
call
nuts,
people
nigga.
repeatedly the N-word.
Shut the fuck
Why
up,
does
dog.
this make you so angry? Why does this
Because
make
you
you so
talking
upset?
to me, because you out of place, dog. You talking to me, and this man asked you a question. You out of place.
All right.
You don't get
Okay,
to tell
so
me
I'm
how to
going
think.
to
You
make
don't get to tell me how to talk. You don't know nothing about me. You stated that from the beginning. So at this point,
I'm
me and
happy
you
I
had
don't.
no
I'm
dialogue,
happy I
bro.
don't.
You started
I'm happy
off
I don't.
wrong. You started it wrong. When he told you said something earlier, no, I don't. Trick. Tell me, who are you? What
And
the
I told
fuck?
you that I was joking.
Okay,
and-
shame on
Well,
you, nigga. You don't know who I am, and that's cool. I
You're-
don't expect
you're
you to
so
know who I
extremely
am.
fragile.
But the way you came at me like that,
Wow.
you are so
fragile.
wow. And then now you want to talk about how I talk. Bro, where you
So
get these?
fragile.
Yeah,
So
it makes
fragile.
sense. He in Ukraine. Yeah.
That's a turn of events.
It
Bro,
certainly
don't
was.
no
So
motherfucking
now
kid
that I
tell
made-
me how to
okay.
talk, dog.
I'll answer the
I'm a
question
grown
now that
ass
I've dealt
man.
with this transphobia.
Don't
And then
nobody
I'll,
how to
All
tell
right,
me how
all
to
right,
talk
all right.
about nothing.
so why don't
Nobody.
you just repeat the question?
Please,
Because I've
please.
dealt with that part.
Trump has halted weapon sales to Ukraine. What does
Yeah.
that mean? Is Russia going to be able to sweep through Europe? If they can't sweep through Kharkiv, I don't see how they make their way to Berlin. Do we? How important is the American backing? Why can't Europe do it?
Well, that's another question. One, you have to remember that the security architecture of NATO has long depended on the U.S. And so to get to your immediate question about the aid being cut off, so there's roughly about 3 months of U.S. aid available now, and much of that aid has been for air defense. And so every single day, people wake up here to drones and missiles being targeting civilian locations. So, for example, buildings around my neighborhood have been hit by drone strikes. My trainer, for example, a building just maybe 2 buildings away, hit a neighbor and killed a well-known journalist here. So it's air defense. So it directly impacts infrastructure. And so without that aid, it means that the protection that civilians have will no longer exist. It means that the 155 millimeter rounds that the Ukrainians need on the battlefield will no longer be there.
You're there. What's the
I'm
end
asking
game
you.
here? What's the end game?
Right. So I don't think the reason why I can't tell you is because the United States nor Europe ever told us. They said we're going to be in for as long as it takes. Now, my personal opinion is that had the United States provided all the weaponry at the right times and in the right volumes and the requisite training along with it, they could have defeated Russia and pushed them out of their currently occupied territories. But in order to do that, that means that you have to see a Russia that was defeated, and they don't know, and Europe was not prepared, nor the United States was prepared for what that would look like.
Yeah, I just, having been to Russia, Ukraine, I can't see it. Russia's so vast. They haven't even.
See what though? So why can't you see it?
I can't see Ukraine defeating Russia. Russia's
Why
4
not?
times larger. Because
It doesn't matter. So
they don't have the
go ahead.
manpower, bro. I mean, they don't have the
But that's
manpower.
not okay. So let's look at it. So according to first of all, there there's no real official open data officially from the government of Ukraine or Russia that speaks to how many men and women that they've lost. And we know, and Charlie, you cover wars yourself. When people talk about casualties mean dead. It means killed in act. It means injured. It means missing in action. And so basically Russia, according to all available intelligence, roughly about 800,000 Russian soldiers have been, there are casualties, in about 200,000 of those or so possibly have been killed. The rest of them are injured, missing in action. Whereas in Ukraine, something around 200 to 300,000, somewhere around that number. Now, it's important to note that since 2014, the Russians really did not extend, I'll go back to 2022, I'm sorry. So the Russians have not advanced well. And so after a total of 10 years, the Russians have only been able to occupy 20% of this country. And so they have a large population, 120 million or so, to draw from, but that doesn't necessarily mean all those people are willing. And then you also know that the tactics that the Russians use, which are wave attacks, have a high casualty rate, and they don't make up a whole lot of kilometers for the people who are killed. Now, the Ukrainians are, right. And so another thing is that the Russians are losing 4 soldiers to 1 Ukrainian. And so as far as the numerical disadvantage, you're right about that. But as far as saying that they don't have, the Ukrainians don't have the manpower, they're extremely low. But we all know that manpower is not the only issue here. It's also the ATACMS. It's also long range strikes. And so the reason why that ATACMS story was such a big deal and why that delay hurt them, and you know that the Germans, they have a Taurus missile that can strike even further. They refuse to send that. They send those to Ukraine in fear of an escalation, even though the Russians fire into civilian locations every single day.
Every single day.
Every single day. But the thing is, it's just not, my point is that I think we can concede that it's not simply a manpower issue. And one more thing to that is that the Russians can afford to send more people now, but they can't do that indefinitely, because at some point, there's only so many ethnic minorities from the southern regions of Russia that they can throw into this meat grinder, into where they have to go deeper into Russia. Right, exactly. Yeah. Because right now you see that they're recruiting people from Africa, they're recruiting from Central Asia,
North Korea,
they're recruiting from all these North Korea, etc. And the thing about the North Koreans is that, and if you look at Telegram, there are plenty of Telegram channels that show you all the details, right? In that these North Koreans are not used to modern warfare. And so they're ultimately different bodies. They're ultimately being thrown into the meat grinder. Now, what they are doing, and this goes back to the Russians, the North Koreans, and the Iranians having a unified front, is that the North Koreans can send their ballistic missiles to Russia, and then they can fire into Ukraine, because they have a supply shortage because of the microchips that are needed that usually come from the West. They're not sending them anymore because of the sanctions. And so the North Korean ballistic missiles weren't as accurate when they first got here, or i.e. to Russia, then fired into Ukraine. But Russian engineers have adjusted the missiles so that they're a lot more accurate. And so the Russians have there's the axis of authoritarians are far more united and care more about Ukraine and the victory than the West does. That's the primary issue. It's not particularly manpower, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. For the final question, let me just, what was your take on the scene in the Oval Office last Friday with Trump and Zelensky and the back and forth? What do you think of it? Where does it leave us?
Okay, so one, that was a setup as far as I'm concerned. Neither Trump nor Vance had any real interest in that deal getting done. And let's deal with the structure of it, because I watched the full 50-minute presser, right? So everything went normally. The problem came in where Trump and then Vance were talking about Zelensky pursuing peace, right? And trying to find a way to resolve the issue. So here's the thing, and this is where you have to really understand Ukrainian politics. Zelensky ran on a platform that he's going to take an even middle ground towards Russia. And so the idea that there were no efforts made prior to this war to find a resolution to the Luhansk and Donbass and Crimea occupations it's just inaccurate, right? So that's just the thing. And so there were multiple times where the Russians violated the Minsk Accords more than 25 times during, and so when Zelensky was talking about peace, when Zelensky was responding to Vance and Trump, that was what really threw it off, because he said, hey, wait a minute, what do you mean? And so as a sitting president that's gone through war since 2022 for 3 years, you're asking this man to sit here and watch you grossly mischaracterize and flat out say mistruths about what actually happened, right? So we can talk about how he should have behaved, but this man is a leader of pre-war 45 million people. And so he has to come back to his people with his head held high, and he also has his own political stature here. Now, when we talk about the mineral deal, it's flat out exploitation, right? Because the way, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the deal was. And I hear what he says, but when he talks about the American people need to benefit from the money that we spend into this war, as I told you earlier, a lion's share of that money, and Charlie, I know you know this, goes to American U.S. contractors. It goes to NATO alliance members. There are no briefcases of money that are coming to Ukraine, and a lot of the money, how we quantify it, comes out of U.S. stockpiles that were going to be retired at any rate. And so when you talk about this mineral deal that he was supposed to sign, it really is exploitation for the very simple reason that U.S. companies, i.e. Trump's billionaire buddies, or Elon Musk, who needs lithium, they can use it. But when you talk about the average American, how is the average American being repaid for this? He hasn't articulated that. And I would love to know, I would love to see even bullet points. I know there's no budget for it, but I think what's happening here in Kiev, just to give you a feel of what's happening, people are really in dismay, because essentially what people in Ukraine and the rest of Europe and a lot of Americans are feeling is that, but I'll state Kiev because I'm here, is that pretty much Trump is aligning himself with Putin, a man who is a dictator, a man who has occupied 20% of the country and is committing war crimes against their people. I've spoken to people who are in occupation here about the mass tortures, the sexual assaults, you name it. This is who Trump is aligning himself with, and he's putting more pressure on the Ukrainians to put themselves in a position where they can cede even more land, as opposed to putting pressure on Putin to tell him to leave a country that he had no legal right to invade.
I look at it as the third party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be funding forever wars. I've been through enough of them under bogus circumstances.
I agree with
the line's not moving. It's time for a ceasefire. It's a ceasefire and then negotiation. I don't know about aligning with anybody. A ceasefire and then negotiation. Having said that, you're an independent reporter in
Yes, sir.
the Ukraine. How can people contribute to your work, dude?
Thank you so much. So basically, I am Terrell Starr, host of Black Diplomats Official on YouTube. And so please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Black Diplomats Official. I'm on Twitter, Terrell J. Starr on Twitter, and also on Instagram. On my Twitter page, you will see links to where you can support my work. And I would be internally grateful. I'm trying to raise $100,000 for from some new projects with Black diplomats, in which I focus on African refugees who fled Ukraine back in 2022, and do more of that work in Europe, and really bring stories about how Black people, particularly the marginalized, are experiencing life in Europe, and as the far right continues to rise across the continent.
Listen, thank you for the brave work, man, and I'll be in touch. Thanks for being on the program.
Absolutely, man. Thanks a lot, man. Good to talk to you. Bye, Trick.
Okay.
Bye, Karen.
I tell Trick you said goodbye.
I mean, come on now. Like, I'm a queer dude. Like, what the hell? Am I supposed to sit there and take that shit? Like,
no, man, you
what if
acquitted yourself well.
what if, come on, Ken. Let somebody come up here and say nigga. Like, I wouldn't expect you to take that. So why would I, as some person who's constantly prosecuted, why would I accept that? That's all. I mean, I just handled myself, and I just handled it accordingly. And the fact that he was so fragile and thought that, I don't know who he thought. And the thing, I was genuinely joking with the dude. Like, I didn't mean any harm, and I thought it was cool. And so I thought it was fine. And then we just had a good old regular conversation. Then he started spouting that shit. And I'm like, okay, I was going to say that and walk off, and then he's gone. So I hope that his feelings are, I hope he, he heals.
I'll check with him. All right. Thank you, Karen.
Please do.
All right.
My condolences. Thank you.
So, Karen.
Charlie, I'm here. I enjoyed the show today.
Yeah, it was unexpected. Before the show, I was scribbling some notes. That wasn't on the bingo card.
But that's okay, though. You got to respect when people are protective of their respective territories, Trick included. So, I mean, it's all good. And I appreciate the space that you provided for them to be themselves.
Yeah, shit. I mean, I don't censor, Oh, look who's back. Trick. Guy said no disrespect.
God bless him.
God bless him. See that? It's all good. All right, look. I want us to say something for you.
There she go. I was wondering where she was at. See, if she would have been here, she would have gave me this look, and I'd have been like,
I wouldn't. Listen, Trick, I just told Charlie that you have a right to respect your space as you did. I mean, that no love lost. You know, you already know.
I know.
All right. I just want to the money, tariffs. Please, folks, let me just explain something to you. Tariffs aren't just about prices going up of goods. There's also the price of your wage, right? What you can purchase with your wage when we're getting dumped on, when products are coming in here and they're being subsidized by the government, when bullshit is being done at the margins and we're being flooded with pulp and we're being flooded with maple syrup, we're being flooded with automobiles. This hurts your wage. The UAW came out and they support the tariffs because they understand the wage part. So when I'm hearing, you said the prices go down on day one, prices have only gone up. I'm like, for 4 years, okay, it's a former Democrat here,
The
but
gas
right,
looking good though. My bad.
she looking real good.
The gas looking good, cuz. The gas prices.
Yeah,
Gas prices looking good. They getting there. It's $2.65 in the hood. I've seen $2.55.
Trick, you're not putting regular gas. You
No, ma'am. Well, in my
I know
truck
you
I do,
aren't.
but in that thing out there, I got still $4. I'll make a call.
So to me, it's stupid, right? Like, we need jobs back here, and shit being cheap at Target ain't really reordering the country the way we need it to be. So there's gonna be some short-term pain. But this is. Do we have that clip? Okay, so the Democrats are like, we got to talk to people. No. You know what you need? You need regular people in the party. You know what I mean? If some fancy pants fucking Ivy League lecturing us, we need people that actually live a real life to be in the party to represent us. Because NAFTA didn't work around here.
That's right.
It didn't fucking work at all. We told you that. We told you for years, and now we got smart ass. I got Rashida Tlaib at the State of the Union last night holding up a sign on one of those paddles telling Trump to pay your taxes. Rashida, I caught you 3 times cheating on your property taxes. You owe the city of Detroit a couple of grand because you had homestead credits. You weren't living there. You were renting it. You owe the city. Stop with the bullshit. You have one of the poorest districts in America, and I'm getting nonsense. So we got messaging. This is what we got from the Democrats here. Play that, Mark.
I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That's what you just heard. Day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices have gone up. Inflation is getting worse. Prices of gas, housing, essential.
Wow. Schumer, Pocahontas, Cory Booker, like the talking points. You know what that reminds me of? That Nexstar deal a couple years ago when all the anchors had to say it's a threat to democracy. This is just group. This is this is nonsense. This is the group for 4 years that told me prices weren't going up, that there was no inflation, that jobs were smoking, and the economy's better than it's ever been. It was a lie.
But that's what's gotten them through, Charlie, for so long. I mean, the whole performative thing, and we've talked about this over the years. And so now, we said this, whether people liked Trump or not, whether they like what he's doing something, and people are falling in line with that. And the Democrats appear to be lost. So it's like, let's continue to do the performative measures to try to, I mean, it kind of reminded me of what is the class president elections last night. It was just very elementary. It was very elementary.
We just want answers. I mean, and again, I don't know, Trick. We grew up here, man, and there's no way to say it except even if you were never registered as a Democrat, that's where your heart was, right?
Yeah, because you believed what you were basically raised on. It's like,
go to work to get paid a fair wage, right?
We go to church on Sunday, you pay your tithes and offering, and you get ready to go back to work Monday. And,
you sin on Saturday, and you're in the pulpit, or you're in the pew on Sunday. That's what we did.
It was a norm. I mean, this how you raised. This what you taught. You at one point I used to believe the news. That says a lot. Like, I used to believe the news. I used to watch the news and be like, man. Until I talk to somebody at the news and they say, man, everything we say is bullshit.
But that's why we struck out here. I'm trying. We're not just commenting on stuff. We're trying to come up with the news. I'm not buying it from this robber class where children are dying in a van, and you're trying to tell me you've done everything you could, and that it's nonsense. That these squalid places that you're warehousing people are on the up and up. They're not. They're not. I want some justice, and I want some working people back in that party. Right.
Charlie,
100%.
I did get a call from someone who was on one of the homeless boards, and they said that as a result of your story, they were resigning because there were some things that you brought up that even they weren't aware of.
Such as?
Just, Charlie, the story of, in terms of the misappropriation of funding, the guy that was a pedophile, they weren't aware that he had those issues. The squalor that was in place. Yeah. So those were things that even as a board member, those were a few of the things that they weren't aware of. And they said as a result, after seeing the show last week, they said they were resigning from the board.
It's all just a showpiece because the real people handling the real money, you don't see them. They convene these boards and people aren't very smart and they have slices of pizza and we all go away and like, where's the hundreds of millions? It's the same with LA. It's the same in San Francisco. It's the same all over the fucking world. Where's the money? That Trick?
Right.
How many films you can make?
Right. Where's the money?
Where's the money?
Follow the money. You find out where the money is.
And fix the shit. Oh, and Terrell says goodbye. And
God bless him.
Nice to meet you, and God bless. See that little brotherhood at the end there. Mikey
Always.
Eckstein, look forward to watching your movie, bro.
Mikey in the middle over here, baby.
Karen, feel better, and we'll see you all next
Love
week.
you, Karen.
Love you guys.